What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the B3 podcast. I'm your host, Brett. Chris, the artist formerly known as Heavy C, is frozen into his house. Multiple injuries. Matt made it. Tanner the Head is back. We got our show partners, Elite Nutrition. Check them out at elitenutritionomaha.com. Use code B3 at checkout for 10% off. Go to the store in Omaha and Lincoln. Yell B3.
Get a free shaker.
And a Cybertruck ride from Santa's face. We also have Rosewood Block to make the best cutting boards and barbecue. They're fully customizable. Check them out at rosewoodblock.com. Use code B3 at checkout for 10% off there as well.
Swell.
Before the show, Tanner and I were talking about making jerky.
Yeah.
With each other?
No, not jerking.
Oh, yeah, I got a bad hearing.
Yeah, no, making jerky.
Usually gay.
Have you made jerky, Matt?
No.
Smoked jerky. We're talking smoked jerky because we always talk about smoking the meats.
Yeah.
And you have or haven't, Tanner?
I have not made it myself. I've helped with the process.
You did the jerking?
I was the finisher.
I believe that's called the fluffer.
I thought the fluffer just keeps them going in between scenes. I heard.
Did you see that? Did you guys see that headline of that like OnlyFans girl? She was like, after having sex with 100 guys, I didn't feel good about it.
Oh, really?
But then she said like she's going to try to have sex with like 1,000, so she's going to do 300 for like training. And I was like, that's gross.
What kind of time frame?
I think it's in a 24-hour period.
That's fucking gross.
That is disgusting.
Oh my God.
Like, get your life together. Like,
No, I think they have time limits though on like the amount of time that they actually have intercourse with.
well, yeah, I'm
person,
sure there's
right?
probably
So
like
you just have like a line of dudes sitting around jerking off.
yeah, I think it's like a
Like,
fluffer
who's
situation.
ready?
You come up and it's like a couple pumps and you're out.
Yeah. So it's not like full blown. Not that it's any bad. Trying to make it sound not as bad.
Can you imagine just standing in line next to some guy just like you're both just handling yourself. You're like, "What's up, man?
Hey, you need the help over there?
Where are you from?" "Oh, cool. No, I had to drive like 6 hours to get here." So
you're just like mashing.
It'd be
Viagra.
like pretty sweet to be the 300th guy. You know what I mean? Fucking disgusting.
well, and then I'm like, this fucking,
God.
like it was all over like E.
That's fine.
Like all over like E News had like posted it, and I was like, are you like STD testing these people?
Probably.
But
I mean, probably
is,
not because she probably has it all.
well, and like I don't think AIDS just shows up on a regular STD test. I feel like that's a little extra blood work there.
I'd venture that everyone has to get tested. Like they test them all.
Do you really think you have standards at that point?
I think so. I mean, they're low, but you have some. You have some.
Yeah.
That's fucking disgusting.
But
So anyway, back to the jerky.
Yeah, that was a hard left there.
Well, you know how I got there. Everybody.
what are family conversations like?
Especially like at the holidays here.
Right.
So what is everyone doing for
and I don't
work
know
these days?
I don't know anything about this girl except this headline. But somebody said her mom is like her manager, and I was like, that's even worser. And worser is not even a word, but it's
That's how
worser.
bad it is.
Yeah, it's worser.
That kind of made me like a little nauseous. Blech.
That's just. I mean, I was just trying to think. Like, if I was in the dating girl world,
Is there a whore gene? Did the mom pass down to the daughter?
And I don't know, like, how do you know? I'm assuming she just like put out like an ad, but otherwise it's like, how do you know like 100 dudes?
You don't.
And then how do you know 300? Like, gross. And then imagine like later on when she's like dating someone, like, oh, like, what's your number?
Well, 300 at once.
300.
how many sessions I've had, or like how many actual
Yeah.
people have been inside me?
And then do you think it'll be 300 different guys, or will it be the 100 originals plus 200 more?
I mean, if she's gonna do it all at the same time, like maybe you could still use the same 100 because like they work.
But I think she said that like the 300 was just training for the 1,000 she's doing. I'm
I
like,
mean, if you're gonna have 1,000 different dudes in you in 24 hours, I mean, think about the time.
That is so disgusting.
think about the
Do all of them have to put it
physical
in?
pain you're going to be in as the girl.
I mean, that's just at minimum. That's 1,000 thrusts. At minimum,
At minimum.
that's 1,000 thrusts.
That's fucking so disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like a headline, like on. It wasn't like on like somewhere. It was like on E News.
It's disgusting.
Between that and like, because every time I see someone pop up and they're like, oh, TikTok or whatever, like they all die. Why do they all die? They're like, oh, they're 35 and died. Like, what are they doing? You know, so I always see all these young people dying. Like, whatever, so and so TikToker dead. I'm like,
Oh, maybe they got poked in different ways.
yeah. Matt, you're doing some math there. What are you doing?
41 dudes an hour for 24 hours.
And that's if you can go for 24 hours.
Right. I mean, I'm assuming she can. Like, there's
She's going to like sleep in there while they're doing it.
Not to discredit her effort, but you're also just going to have 1,000 dudes in line.
That's fucking
Just
disgusting.
jacking off, getting ready. Imagine like you're up there and you're fucking right there and you just turn wrong and you just precipice and now you just stood in line for hours jerking off with dudes and you just shot it on the floor and now you're out.
Do you think there's like a line, like if you're like, say there's like 500 people in line, like once you get to this line, you just start getting ready.
I imagine so. They're like, hey, you have to.
It's like skydiving. It's like, all right, we're almost to the altitude.
I mean,
like,
they probably got a queue. And imagine you're the person. They're like, all right, who's up? All right, you're on deck. You're in the hole. How about you close? All right, you
actually, no, the first guy's in the hole. That guy's in the hole. You're on deck. You're beating it.
Yeah, like the logistics.
And then you think like they're standing next to each other, just jerking. And be like, hey, you want to grab lunch after this?
Right. Like, are they bringing in sandwiches and like water? Like, what if? I don't know. It's disturbing.
It's fucking gross.
That's the goal.
I'm actually
It's like,
really interested in the logistics of it. Like, how do you organize that? 'Cause, I mean, imagine just getting 1,000 people to do something in a 24-hour period, right? I mean, not necessarily sex, but just something else. There's a lot of logistics that go into that.
Yeah, like I just heard someone like some state they might have broke the Guinness record for the most people doing the Macarena at the same time. Very different. Very different activity.
Physical feat.
Yes.
But yeah, the logistics of setting that up, like very, very interested.
Yeah. So jerky.
Which is what she'll be afterwards.
Yes, gross. So I've done it a couple different ways. I've got a couple different ways and with different meats. So I save my trimmings from brisket and cut most of the fat off and then do the tallow, which if you're not using your trimmings for tallow, you're missing out because the tallow is super good. And I did the last one on my drum smoker versus my pellet smoker for the tallow. And it's got a way more smoky taste. So as soon as like Amber will be making something and throw it in the pan, you can smell the hickory smoke coming off of the tallow. But like, because Tanner had asked about the jerky gun, which is super handy. And if anybody has a tip out there that I can't figure out, you always end up with a wad of meat at the end. But mix up all your seasonings and everything. Some people like to let it sit overnight, kind of marinate in the flavor, whether you're just doing seasonings or if you're doing soy sauce or you're doing who's your sister sauce. And then just load up the jerky gun. Super handy. You can get those kits. They're not very expensive. I got mine at Shields. You can probably get them at Cabela's. You can get them anywhere. You can do round.
Albany Barbecue might have them too.
Yeah, they might have them too. I guess I've never like looked for one there, but I know they have some. Either. I know they just posted some jerky seasonings. They have some kits. Yeah. But I've done the gun that you can do round, I think, and flat. I always do the flat. And I make them maybe like, I don't know, 4-inch long strips, and you have to kind of break them yourself. You have to.
Yep.
And then I put them on wire racks because you don't want to go out on your smoker and squirt out individual jerky pieces all over it. But then at the end, you do kind of end up with like this meat wad you can't shove through. So I just kind of patty it down and make like a round piece of jerky out of it.
You could probably square it out.
And that's basically you cook it at 180 until that meat it's very thin, but you can take an Insta reading, you can check the temperature on it. So you want it to be like 165. And
is that what you get jerky to? 165?
Yeah, it's just beef usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time.
And you got a little bit of leeway. If it's like 160, you're going to throw it into a bag anyway, so it's going to cook itself.
I mean, most of the time when we cook beef, we're cooking at like 135.
Well, yeah, with your if you're doing rare, medium rare, whatever you're doing. And then I've done it the other way where I've thin sliced brisket flat with a meat slicer.
Because you got that freaking Wagyu jerky money.
Mm-hmm. And did that. Well, then I used the point and I made burn ends. But I've done it that way and just put it in a baggie and marinated overnight and then laid it out on wire cooling racks. Same thing, 180, let it go. It might take 3-4 hours.
I think I like the gun better. I kind of like the ground, but I don't like the
strips. Sometimes you get a little fatty piece and it's hard to get apart, or you might get like a.
It's a little tougher.
Yeah, because it's not going to break down the same as like if you were cooking a brisket.
Do you like chewy or tough jerky? I'm more of I like the steak type jerky.
Yes, like the thicker cut, but
like
still strips, not like a stick, but like a strip of jerky.
Yeah, but do you like the one where like it almost rips your teeth out, or that you can actually tear it
like
apart?
the one where like I get a jaw pump trying to chew it.
Yeah.
Yeah, not so much on that.
Yeah, I like more of the tender.
Yeah.
Where you have to keep it refrigerated, kind of. Those are the ones you usually have to keep refrigerated.
Old Trapper is a very good consistency.
So the stuff I have is usually more tender than that, where it's and usually if you're making it on the smoker, you have to refrigerate it. I was at Costco one time and they had some thin sliced like.
Do you have to refrigerate it?
I think you're supposed to with that.
Probably.
I had some sitting on the counter for, like, Luke brought me some deer jerky, and I just had it sit on the counter for like a week, and I ate it.
I feel like it's kind of depends on if it's an airtight bag, and like in my opinion, my weird outside opinion, like
It's not airtight.
Like you just had it on a pile on the counter, and you're just
No,
going
it was like it was. I cut the bag open, and then I just put a rubber band about it.
Under. Yeah, that's fine.
And sometimes I think like
That's hermetically sealed. Yeah, you're good.
I always like weirdly feel like if it's like a really like hard jerky, like I feel like it's been cured enough, it doesn't have to, but it's like softer and more
there's
rare.
nothing left in there for bacteria to grow on.
Yeah.
It's just fucking.
Yeah,
It's all salt.
but yeah, I think
Little
it actually a
bacteria.
lot of jerky. Actually, once you open it, you're supposed to refrigerate it.
You know, there's some weird things.
lot of stuff.
Oh,
So yeah, actually, that's the thing. That's a tip. Look at the jerky bag because some will tell you once it's opened you have to refrigerate. Not all jerky can just be left out on the like in your truck. For
I
a week.
can't remember what I was using, and
like the little shredded stuff in a chew can.
Yeah.
You can leave that stuff.
I can't. Like, it was some sauce or something that I had had, and I've had for I've used forever. And I looked at randomly on the back and said refrigerator. I was like, this motherfucker has refrigerated for a year.
Yeah.
Well, at that point in time,
Well, yeah, it
why
depends.
do
Are you
white-
going to cook it or are you going to?
Why do white people put their hot sauce in the refrigerator? I do it, and I saw someone post about it. I'm like, I don't know why I put my hot sauce in the refrigerator.
I like my condiments cold.
Yeah, I think it's a white thing though.
Like I don't like warm ketchup. I mean, if it's already like
You want the contrast. So like if you put ketchup on your burger, you want the hot burger with the cold
yeah.
ketchup.
Yeah, I get that. Like,
Now, if it's
what-
been like sitting on a picnic table, I'm not gonna be like, this isn't cold enough. But like,
you put an ice cube in your ketchup.
I brought my own.
but yeah, I like cold. I think I just like cold condiments.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Cholula or whatever. Just like
Yeah.
I always have it in the refrigerator.
I
But
think there's just this conception that like when in doubt, put it in the fridge. So rather than looking at a bottle to be like, I don't know if I need to or not, fucking put it in the fridge.
But then you go to like any Mexican restaurant, they just have fucking Cholula sitting
it's
all
just,
over.
yeah, they all sit on the counter. And they're like, oh, do you want some hot? Yeah, I got this one. It's all
Yeah.
fucking crusty around the edge. And you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's fine.
Yeah, it's
whatever,
fine.
it's good.
Yeah.
But they also might go through it faster, right? So like if you go through a bottle in a week, sure, you can probably leave it on the counter. But if it's like the 6-month bottle like we have, I don't think I'd leave it on
Well,
the
there's
counter.
there's even some stuff like if you home make it, like your life expectancy is way shorter. Like if you make
Yeah,
like
'cause it's not
Malcolm's
pasteurized.
like Malcolm's white sauce, you got like 7 to 10 days. If you buy Malcolm's white sauce that he makes them like they can or whatever, that shit like doesn't expire.
It's like when you're looking at like condiments, it's like used within 14 days, but then the expiration date's like a year and a half
Right.
later. It's
Yeah,
like,
'cause
yeah,
it's set 14 days after opening. I think,
fuck
right?
that. I've never ever once followed that in my entire
Well,
life.
and I do think some of those things are like just so the food people can't get sued. Like
Yeah.
if you get sick, then you can't be like, oh,
I think
Well,
it's
there was like we got a shitload of eggs last year. I think we bought 120 dozen eggs for $1 a piece because Hy-Vee wouldn't sell them because they had the wrong expiration date on them. They were supposed to be printed July something, and they got printed in June, and so they were going to expire in a week. And so this guy that had them, he had like 1,000 dozen eggs.
but weren't they? Once you wash them, don't they have like an expiration date?
They do have an expiration date, but like if you like your commercial eggs that you're going to get, like the time you get them, they're a couple months old already.
yeah, they are.
So, but they're still good because you can put them in the fridge and
they
they
have
can last a
they
long
have,
time.
they have 30 days to get them to process.
Yeah. So
And then they have 30 days to get them to the store, and then you get them. So they're 60 days old.
You still
when you get
have
them.
a long time to eat them. The issue with that Hy-Vee had is like they just had the wrong expiration date when they went to come through with their little stamper. Instead of saying June or July 15th, they said June 15th. So so the expiration date was going to show earlier than it actually is. And for the company, they were like, well, it costs us too much to take them all out, put them in new cartons, and do that. So they're like, we'll just sell them for, I think it was $1 a dozen or something like that.
Did you? How long did you use those for?
We used them all summer. We sold them. That was the summer that we did an egg stand. And so we just we had those off to the side and said,
Oh,
hey,
so you acted like you had farm
nope,
fresh eggs?
we did not say they were farm fresh.
Yeah,
eggs.
you just had your chickens right behind the eggs.
we said we have
You were just like set up right in front of the chicken
we said
coop.
here are our eggs. We said here are our eggs over here, and then we said these are Hy-Vee surplus eggs for $2 a dozen.
So we went to there's some strawberry farm out like northwest of town. I would like probably maybe Arlington-ish, somewhere in there. And we went out there and there was like the strawberry festival, but it was early in the season. I'm like, They had fucking Driscoll strawberries for their strawberry. I saw the cartons. Okay, and then these motherfuckers, like in their stand, like in the big store, like when you left, they took the Driscolls out and they put them in like homemade looking containers. Yeah. Now I asked, I said, "Are these your strawberries?" Because I saw their strawberries and they were fucking green, like they were not ready.
Right? Yeah.
Well, they're like, no. I'm like, you
cheeky fucks,
dicks.
Yeah.
I mean, at least you told me, but
right.
Yeah, you fucking Driscolls.
Where are we at?
Jerky.
We were jerking.
Yes. And then so after you smoke the jerky, we're kind of getting back to that. I learned a trick from Hey Grill Hey. If you ever watched her, any of her stuff. Mm-hmm. And she does like a steam effect with it. So she'll take it right off the smoker into like a gallon Ziploc bag, Ziploc it all the way shut, leave it maybe like an inch or two open, so it kind of steams and keeps it more moist in there.
Oh.
Which is a pretty good little trick.
Mm-hmm. That'd be pretty solid, yeah.
Yeah. And the jerky is solid that way. Yeah, just put it on the trays, whether you use the gun or you slice it, and just go to 165.
So do you put it on your, do you have a jerky smoker? Like, do you have a rack smoker, like the little mini fridge looking ones, or do you just put it on your regular?
I just put it on my Traeger on the...
a dehydrator?
No, they have... Well, I think you can have
you're talking like, he's talking like the Pit Boss, those cabinet smokers.
Because I know a lot of people who do a lot of jerky use those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can get a lot more on it.
I think when I've done probably a pound or two and you do it on the cooling, I can do the big cooling racks. I think it's maybe like 3 cooling racks worth. You can fit 4. I have a Timberline 1300. You can fit 4 of the big cooling racks on there.
Okay. I was just
top and bottom, if you use 2 shelves. I
was just at Ace I was looking at a bunch of shit. You guys both have the Timberline?
I have the 1300. He's got the new one.
I've got the XL, like the big fucking...
I have the Timberline 1300.
Does that have like a fucking burner on the side?
Yeah, it's
that motherfucker. Yeah, that is sweet. I was like, holy shit, that's like...
And mine does not have that.
That is it's a pricey smoker there.
Fuck yeah, it is. And honestly, like I like the smoker. I would have got the Ironwood XL instead of the Timberwood XL, which is... It looks very similar, but it doesn't have the cabinet space underneath, and it doesn't have the induction burner on the side.
So it has a cabinet, so the cabinets are fucking like look like little cutting boards.
Oh yeah, on the side. So there's the cutting. On top of your pellet hopper is a cutting board.
Yeah,
and then the shelves on the right side could be used as little cutting boards or little shelves.
Yeah.
But you can also take those out, and then if you have the Traeger pellet containers, they slide right.
Well,
in
it came with a pellet container.
Yeah. So then when you dump your pellets, you just pull the drawer out and they fall straight down, and that part is really nice.
And actually, the 1300 I have is the first fully insulated one they did, and it has like the little wicker cutting board.
Yeah, that was fucking heavy duty. I went back and I went home and looked at my Traeger. It's like yours, like the poverty Traeger.
I would honestly, if you want the really nice, I would get the Ironwood XL unless you have a covered patio space that you could leave it open, because that's the thing. It's like I'm not just going to go out and use the induction, because I got to take the whole fucking cover off and I got to do all the shit to use the induction burner. And I can do all that same stuff.
If you're going to buy that expensive ass Traeger, shouldn't you have just built a fucking porch over it or something? Like
when we bought the Traeger, the Ironwood XL didn't exist yet. They didn't say they were doing it, and we didn't have a deck. So
like let's spend half the money that you spend on your Traeger and put a roof on it.
So like the main reason I wanted the Timberline XL is that the smoking barrel, the actual smoking chamber, is fucking gigantic.
Yes.
So it's like 1,600 square inches between the main rack and the 2 additional racks, but you have a ton of height in there, and so you can have like all kinds
that thing
of
was
shit.
Fucking massive.
So it's
and
massive.
It's heavy.
It's heavy, and it can go through a shitload of pellets because the barrel's so big.
Oh, I bet you can.
You can mow through pellets. So like when I do an overnight brisket, I always I run it on like 180, maybe 200 with super smoke for 12 hours, and I'll go through probably 15 pounds of pellets.
So like basically on mine, because I don't have the cool one.
No,
I have 2 not cool ones.
Yeah.
I always have to run it like this time of year. I always have to run it. Like if I want it 180, I got to go to 200.
Yeah.
Like I always have to run it because I just check the ambient temperature, and my ambient temperature is always about 20 degrees.
Yeah.
Less. But on that thing, it's probably holding that temp, because I lifted the lid up. I'm like, holy, like
it holds.
Damn.
And that one will vary 10 degrees maybe up and down.
Any of those at Traeger fully insulated, are pretty nice.
They're freaking sweet.
But like I said, if I could redo it, I would go back in time and I would buy the Ironwood XL and not the Timberline XL because it's.
And if you're cheaper than that, I think the Timberline has come down quite a bit too. The Timberline 1300. And that's like 1,300 square inches. And that's fully insulated too and heavy duty if you don't want to spend the Ironwood money. And man, the Pro 34 is still good too. And that's old as shit. You can get the insulated blanket for it.
I don't know. Do they still make? I've only seen like the 575s.
I've seen I've seen 34s. Unless it's just they're selling inventories places, but.
So a buddy of mine, my friend's dad, so I got another Traeger from him, is he goes out and he'll look on Facebook Marketplace, whatever, and I don't know what year he told me, but at some year they switched from American made to like Chinese made.
It's a long time ago though now. Like the one my sister had that I had.
Is it like 2008 or something?
Probably something like that. They were built a little. But that's the one that fell over in my truck. I sold to Mike, and it was fine.
So he only looks for those, and then he redoes them. So I got like a big damn thing for like he sold.
Yeah.
And if you have one of the older ones, the insulated blankets work really good for a Traeger. They actually fit your smoker.
Huh.
And I just left mine on year round.
Blanket for the Pro 34, like I put that on and I just leave it on there.
Yeah, I left it year round, and it fits around your handle, so it stays on.
Ooh, excuse me. That's
You know,
You're excused.
bless you.
That's
what we say in our house. Someone burps or farts, we say bless you.
Yeah, I needed that.
Yeah. I feel like I've just done things a certain way. Like I don't know that there's a better way, or like
Sometimes that's the best way to learn.
I wish I would have never seen that like fancy Traeger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like I have the Blackstone and then I look at the freaking Traeger
The Flat Rock.
or even the new Blackstones
really nice.
and I'm like, oh my God, those are.
I mean, if you use your smoker a lot, especially when it's cold, the insulation and or the blanket
I
does
use
make a
it
big
all
difference.
the time when it's cold and I just go out there and freeze my ass off and turn it up.
I was nervous about the Timberline because it's got this super fancy like electronic touch screen controls and stuff. And I was smoking a bunch of shit for the fire department and didn't know it was going to start fucking raining. And I was like, well, we're doing this. And so I just let the Traeger, let it fucking run in the rain and it was fine. So
yeah, that would scare me too.
Yeah.
But
So
I mean, the good thing about my Traeger is that if I forget for like a week to cover it, and it doesn't.
So now
matter.
I feel a lot better because I ran it in the rain. I forgot to cover it a couple times when we got big snowfalls or we got rain.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, it still works. All right, I feel a little bit better about it.
Last year I did something. I was cooking outside and I had the Blackstone and the Traeger going, and I forgot to cover them both. And then it snowed, and I was like, looking at I pull up my weather. I'm like, oh, I should be able to cover them on Thursday. It's gonna be warm.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Just turn them on.
Yeah,
It'll thaw them out.
But I will say, so going back to like having the multiple racks, one of the things that I found challenging with Traeger, because they have such a great warranty, to like buy replacement stuff. So I wanted to get 2 more racks of the top racks, because with those I could do fucking 48,000 racks of ribs in there. But like buying those racks or buying replacement parts is pretty hard. You have to find these exclusive like third-party dealers, because Traeger's warranty is so good. They don't
sell.
They'll just give it to you. Like when I had the issue, they're like, "Oh, here's the new."
Why don't you just
auger."
call and say that your racks are bad?
I should. Just be like, hey, well, but they'll hop on the phone. Like I had a video chat with the guy and like show him all this stuff, because like the other part I wanted to do is I wanted to order replacement main racks on there, because like they'll get super dirty and I wanted to take them out and like soak them and clean them. But I'm like, well, if I want to use them, I want like a replacement rack to put in there. And Traeger was like, why would you want to do that? I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter to you, man. Like, just sell me the fucking racks.
Don't ask me questions you don't want the answer to.
Right. Do you want my fucking money or not?
Yeah.
And they said, nah, it's all right. You already gave us too much money for that smoker.
Dude, that smoker's freaking nice.
Dude, it's fucking sexy as hell, man.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
I'll cut you a deal.
So you get a new one or what?
No,
Why not?
Yeah.
because
Pussy.
I'm gonna forget that I saw it, and I'm just gonna be happy with my old ones.
I'm just going to start sending you pictures of it all the time now. Just like your bench fail, I'm going to set an alarm. Set the timer for the meat. Oh, and send Tanner a picture.
Besides jerky, a good holiday, even gift is smoked cheese. Cold smoked cheese, which is easily doable if you have a smoker. Just get an amazing tube, or what are their little maze things?
Mm-hmm.
And now that it's cold outside, or if it's wherever you're at, if it's not cold.
In Singapore, we have a good following in Singapore.
We do have a good following in Singapore.
I don't know why, but
I don't know why either, but it's consistent.
It is consistent.
VPNs. That's why. Fucking VPNs.
But Singapore,
As long as it's
I'm
below,
guessing it's a base.
Yeah.
I think as long as it's below like 90 degrees, is that what they say? If it's below 90 outside, you can cold smoke cheese.
Well, it's below 90.
For some
safely.
reason, like 84 sticks out in my mind. It's some like very strange temperature.
And so what I do, like I said, I have the Timberline. I put the cheese up on the second rack, put the Amazing Tube on the bottom rack, and kind of stagger it. Or if you have a chimney, put the cheese towards the chimney so it'll pull it across it. And then if you have an insulated one, like I was telling Matt, you have to kind of like prop the door open a little bit, otherwise it'll snuff the fire out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those Amazing Tubes work great. You just let it go for, I think it's an hour and a half maybe. And if you have a vacuum sealer or baggie, plastic baggies, put it in there, seal it up for a couple of days. Cold smoked cheese. It's good for the old charcuterie boards at your holiday get-togethers. Good little gift for people.
I get another tube. I was just thinking, so like the other problem I have with the Timberline is because it's such a big fucking smoker, I feel obligated to smoke a lot of things in it when I do. So when you're thinking about doing cheese, I'm like, oh, I should get some cheese. And I'm like, how many blocks of cheese can I fit in that thing?
Well, so I did
14,000 was the number I came up with.
Yeah.
I think 14,000 blocks.
They're fucking big.
Even when I did like that smoked queso from Meat Church, I cold smoked all the cheese the day or 2 days before. Even the Velveeta, you can cold smoke Velveeta.
Do you know?
It gets weird.
I bet it gets like
it.
crusty.
No, it gets kind
It's
of
not
soft.
even cheese.
You shut your fucking mouth, okay? Cheese product.
I'm just going to throw this out there. If the cheese, and I'm air quoting for people that are listening at home and not watching us on YouTube, is sitting out and not in the cold section, I don't think it's actually
vacuum sealed, stupid.
God, what an idiot.
The cheese you get in the cold section is also vacuum sealed.
No. It was a little baggy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm not.
I can't talk to him anymore.
I do love Velveeta. I'm just saying I have a hard time calling it cheese.
It's a cheese product, Tanner.
it's like I didn't know, and I think Amber had told me also, but like that Pringles are not actually potato chips. They're made from like instant potato mix.
Oh.
Which instant potatoes are fucking great.
Yeah, so it's not actually from potatoes. It's like instant potato mix. I think it's Pringles. That's why they don't call them potato chips.
So they just like press them.
I guess.
They're like the hot dog of chips.
Until you get your
Just like a
hand,
paste. Just
until you get your hand stuck in the tube.
God, right?
Just in the tube, getting that last fucking chip out.
Yeah, you can do this.
It's not the same.
Just turn the can upside down.
If people did that, there wouldn't be stories about getting their hands stuck in there. God, what
Isn't
an
that like a whole
idiot.
commercial where everyone walks around with like their hands stuck in a Pringle can?
Yeah,
Like,
when I was in like high school, I saw a kid leaving a party throwing up in a Pringles can. That's
ooh,
talent.
That's talent.
Yeah.
'Cause
Was
I
it
don't
all
think you
going
can
in
fit
the
as
Pringles
much-
can?
I don't know. I didn't see. I just saw him carrying it like dry heaving. So I was
I
like,
don't think
well,
you can fit as much vomit into a Pringles can as you think you could.
Yeah. As I was leaving, I
I've
thought,
got
well,
like a couple good hucks and
I gave him the old Masters of the Universe. Good journey.
Well, like we've all been driving and peed like in a Gatorade bottle.
I have not.
Oh, I have.
I've never
yeah.
peed in a bottle.
I
it's because your dick's so big you can't fit it in the bottle.
No, they have big slams. No, I just have never done it before. I tried one time and I was like, didn't feel good
So
about it.
I used
Like
to,
were you standing up in front of people? You're like, all right, guys, my turn.
No, I was working parking lot maintenance with a friend of mine, and we were sealing cracks in this neighborhood, and he had one of those like flat nosed trucks, so the windshield came all the way down, and I was like, can't do it. Everybody can see
Oh,
me.
then you didn't have to pee bad enough.
No, I jumped out and just peed next to somebody's house in a fucking neighborhood.
so I used to have to drive a lot for my job. I was like worked from Kansas to North Dakota, so there's a lot of like drive time. And I had like a 32 ounce, like I would always have one in the business. I have to pee a lot. I'm just like,
I did too. I have a hamster bladder.
Yeah. So I'm driving and I pee and I'm like 32 ounce bottles filling up way faster than I thought it was going to.
Oh no.
Yeah. It gets
I can't
almost,
stop once I start. It stings.
Yeah. It gets almost, so I cap it, freaking toss
You were
it.
actively driving down the road
Yeah.
while peeing? Ooh, that's
Yeah.
brave.
And then I threw it out the window because you don't want a pee bottle in your car. And a fucking state trooper was coming the other way and made me drive back and pick it up.
Did you tell him it was your piss bottle?
He's like, why are you littering? I said, I normally don't litter. I said, I just peed in it. And he's like, you're going to have to go pick that up or I'm writing you a ticket. I'm like, motherfucker.
And drink it. take a drink.
I had to drive back and look for the mother, and he was like following me.
It was fucking light on you. Yeah, I think, dude, like if you have to pee bad enough, you either like are peeing in your pants or you're peeing in a bottle. Something.
I've never done either of those. I've shit my pants, so that's a different thing.
Yeah, but it's tough to poop in a bottle.
Yeah.
Not that I've tried, but
I assume. I've heard.
just thinking about the logistics. It's
So, do you guys have anything else on jerky or smoked cheese? It's a great holiday gift. No, anything?
I'm gonna try a big batch of cheese. I think I need another smoke tube though.
Didn't I give you one of those maize ones?
So I have a maze. I have a smoke tube.
Well, that maize will go for like hours.
It will, but I want a bunch of smoke because I want to do it in the timberline. And I
So run that and the tube.
I don't have chips.
Use pellets
I didn't think you could use pellets in the maze.
No, it takes
like the little
pellets.
triangle thing.
from Amazon.
I don't know. I have the tube. The tube takes pellets.
Yeah, they all
but I thought the triangle thing took chips.
I think you can probably put pellets in there. What's
Well,
the worst
hey,
it's gonna do?
Blasphemous.
Hey, dude with this freaking $1 billion smoker over there could probably afford to grab some fucking wood chips on the way
Well,
home.
I used to be able to until I bought the smoker. And now I have to steal pellets from people's houses while they're sleeping.
Anyway,
My neighbor's like, hey, Matt, can I borrow some pellets? Someone stole mine. I'm like, oh, sorry, dude.
try the jerky. You can use ground beef, or you can save your brisket trimmings. Any of that stuff, grind it up. If you need a grinder and you have a KitchenAid mixer, the grinder setup for that is
Works.
pretty awesome.
I think venison's really good for that too.
Yeah.
Because venison's kind of tough to cook.
And if you do have the KitchenAid, the metal grinder kits, keep them in your freezer because it keeps the meat colder
See, I've
longer.
heard that, and I've never done
The colder
it.
you
I
can
haven't had
keep the
any
meat,
issues.
because I took that class at Helping You
Yeah.
Barbecue. If you ever want to take some classes, check out Helping You Barbecue. The colder you keep the meat, it won't gum up your grinder.
I mean, I just
So if you keep it like borderline, like super cold, and then you keep your equipment like in the freezer, I mean, it's obviously going to cool
Yeah.
down as you go, but it's just it doesn't gum up as bad.
Also, just to make sure you only have like one of the discs in the grinder when you're using it.
Yeah, dumb kids like Tanner do that.
You end up with paste.
So yeah, and get a jerky gun, like I said, like Tanner said, Helping You Barbecue probably
like
has
glue.
them. Shields, Cabela's, almost any like outdoor outfitter store.
I was just throwing out Helping You Barbecue because this time of year I won't go to Shields
Yeah,
because their
no.
parking blows.
but Helping You Barbecue has.
why are there so many humans at Shields like all the time right
Well, it is like
Always.
the happiest place on earth, but
now? I mean, they do have a Ferris wheel, which is cool.
I mean, they have everything.
They do.
Like, you need shoes,
They
you
do
need a
have
fucking coat, you need a gun, you need a bow, like, you need some barbecue shit. They got it all.
Yeah, and then some
Not
fudge.
like Menards though. Menards has everything.
I
Menards
fucking
is
hate
good.
Menards. I haven't gone back to Menards ever since COVID.
They're probably pretty happy about it.
So during COVID, they told me to put a mask on. I just wasn't wearing one. So I walk through and I get up to checkout and they're like, you have to put your mask on. I said, just check. I was like, I'm leaving. They're like, well, we don't check you out until you put your mask on. I said, oh, really? I went and filled my fucking card up and came back. They wouldn't check me out. And then I just left. They could put that shit away. And I haven't been back since.
Super
Anyway.
adult.
Huh?
Super adult of you.
Super. I was petty. Super.
Little petty spaghetti over here.
There's a certain amount of petty that I,
I
do
got
have.
4 more cards, and I filled those motherfuckers too.
Yeah, I would have.
I took masks from people. Fuck them.
Yeah, I have a certain level of petty that works.
Well, try the jerky. Use the cooling racks. That's your tip. Use the cooling racks no matter what you do because it'll make it easier to get it off and on your smoker. 180, couple 2, 3, 4 hours. There are some recipes out there you can follow, or you can marinate it, do your own seasonings, play around with it.
Remember, if you're following meat church recipes, the
That doesn't
times are always wrong.
Well, that
I don't get it. Like I use the same fucking smoker that he uses, and it's still fucking off.
The times are always wrong.
Always.
I had to
Just check
fucking hold my
after 2
turkey for
hours.
an hour and a half because of his ass.
on the jerky, after 2 hours, go out and check it with like an Insta-read. You kind of, it's really thin. You got to kind of just stick it in there and kind of see.
Angle.
Yeah. See what it's at. And then the smoked cheese, just give it like, I can't remember if it's an hour and a half or 2 hours. I think it's an hour and a half.
Because there's no internal temperature you're looking for.
No, you're just letting it smoke. If it's cold out, it doesn't really matter.
I
But-
imagine it's
You
got
gotta
to
check
check on
on-
like the crust, because like I know some of that smoked cheese develops like a.
Well, and you do have to check
A ring?
just to make sure that your Amazon tube or whatever you're using is still running.
True. I've had that go out and come
Yeah.
back later.
And I'm going to tell you, it's
like,
easier
what
to
the
use
fuck?
if you have some kind of torch, butane, or a lighter torch. Way easier to light those tubes and get all the pellets going. But yeah, try those out. Let us know what you think. Jerky's a great snack, good protein source. And do the smoked cheese, good holiday time for the, like I said, charcuterie boards, good gift for people.
It's a good
especially if
addition
you're-
to like stuff, like just having smoked cheese to put on.
especially if
as a
you're
garnish.
cheap, it's a good gift for people.
Yeah.
But yeah, try it out. Let us know what you think. Like, subscribe, share, follow. We appreciate you listening. We'll see you next time.